Hello, Stephen from Belgium. I was wondering, Jessica and Kate, can you tell us a little bit about the physicality of those mesmerizing spaceship glides?
It's part of the reason after working with Ridley Scott, it was the best part of the reason of making the film is the zero gravity stuff I was really looking forward to. And when I got on set, I realized how many people are involved in that. Because there's all these people in the pulley system that are controlling your movements that you have to then make look like you're doing it. And it's choreographed within an inch of its life, and we're just kind of along for the ride learning it, and I had so much fun. And when I saw it on screen the first time, I haven't seen the film completely finished yet, so I'm really excited about tonight. But I saw a cut of the film, and it's like being a little kid and watching these movies and hoping someday you get to do that. I don't really want to go to space, but I want to pretend to. And it was wonderful to do that.
But the other thing is that's really fun, I think, about making movies, and totally ridiculous that we are grown-ups doing this, is like in some of the tighter shots, oftentimes it makes sense not to do elaborate wire work. You know, your frame is only kind of a certain, so you can kind of do it. And we did it on Interstellar also. You know, two of my favorite directors, Ridley and Chris Nolan, doing the thing where you're in space like this, and you kind of and you act while you're standing on one foot and moving slowly, and it's totally ridiculous. But within the confines of that frame, it totally works, and you can't tell. So it's that's another thing that's really fun, is even as big as these movies are, and with all of the production value, you end up like you were a kid in your bedroom pretending that you're in space, which is fun, and it works.
Kate, you have some wire work and float. Was that your experience as well?
Yeah, I sort of the same experience as Jessica. It was very much surreal. I would never make it as an astronaut for a lot of different reasons, but those days were my favorites. I mean, it feels very much like a dance, and there's choreography to it. And but then once you're doing it, you really do. You feel like a little kid. And Ridley, maybe he was just faking it really well, but he seemed just as excited as we did when we were doing the scenes and floating through the air. We did have one scene where I'm just supposed to, well, all of us actually are just floating towards Matt and hugging him, and I felt really silly during that one. But you're trying to look as cool as possible, so that was probably the hardest acting job in the film, was floating and trying to not look like a total idiot, and just don't grin too big, because it is that thrilling.
And not bump into the furniture.
Yeah.
I guess while you're doing it
It's
as well.
kind of like what the stuff that they would teach you in acting school that's totally pointless. That's literally, you're like, this could and finally 20 years into making movies, like I could use one of the exercises, and it actually paid off.
Got another question right here, Carrie?